The KDKA Sports Desk is brought to you by Xfinity.
All right, welcome back inside the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. And the big sports news of the day today is the Pirates lose again, 13-0. They're on one heck of a streak, 7-28 since the All-Star break. That is the worst record in baseball since then. And it was just one monster shot after another over at PNC Park. I guess luckily for the Pirates, there were not many people that saw it over there. I walked out to go check out the attendance, and I couldn't. The seats were all empty. So that is the big news today. Steelers back to work on the south side. Not really much going on over there. That this is the closest to a regular season week that there is in the preseason. That most of the starters will play on Sunday night in Tennessee, including Ben Roethlisberger should get one or two series, 15 to 20 snaps with the first team. Some of those starters will play the entire first half. So I know this is the game that I look forward to, Gene, of any game. And, I don't really look forward to the preseason. I don't think anyone does. But this is the one game that I would like to see, the offense or the defense do something, because you're going against other first teams.
Yeah, and you would like to see what the starting quarterback does, too, because we haven't seen him since last season. He's had an excellent camp, but it's time to get him out on the field just to see that, he looks to be in some kind of rhythm with his receivers. He has, he's lost Antonio Brown, so the receiving core is different, obviously. And, I think that's something to keep an eye on. You won't see much of him. I guess he'll play into the second quarter, maybe till halftime. But after that, you won't see him until Sunday night, September 8th at New England.
Yeah, I'm hearing 15 to 20 snaps. So whatever that, I guess they'll also depend on how the game unfolds too, how long that is. But I want to see Juju do something in the game too. I want to see if they have some kind of rapport because, he's had a tremendous training camp, but we haven't really seen him much in game action. He did play the last game but didn't do anything. So I want to see what his rapport is with him. Obviously, we know what it is, but him being the number one receiver. So that's what I'm looking forward to. All right, let's go to Pete in Squirrel Hill. What's up, Pete?
Hey, guys, how are you tonight?
Good, thanks for calling.
Hey, Rich, about this stretch the Buccos are going through, you don't have to go back that long, Rich. Remember, for 6 consecutive years, the Penguins had the worst record in hockey, and they were the worst attendance record in hockey at the same time until the ping pong balls start popping up. So use that as an example also. And second, the Steelers, the first 40 years of the history of the organization, Rich, 7 winning seasons.
Well, let's try to keep this within the last 20 years. I get it. I know what you're saying.
I'm trying to figure out, Bob Nutting will eternally get beat up for being cheap because he's from West Virginia, where Art Rooney did the same thing. He was cheap. He didn't want to spend money on players, but he gets the pass because he was the north side of the hometown boy.
But don't you think things were different back then, Pete? Don't you think things were different?
No, Rich. It's economics is the same no matter what era you come from. It's economics. The guy don't want to spend money, isn't successful, and doesn't make money.
Well, yeah, I totally agree that you have to spend money to make money. That's a
right.
motto that I 100% agree with, and I don't know what the heck Bob Nutting is. I think, I always say this, Gene, and we talk about this, it seems like every night. If you want to be an owner of a professional sports team, you should have some pride. It should be a secondary business. He's in it to make money. And it's clearly, that's it.
Pete, I'm going to try and forget that you called this show and compared Bob Nutting to Art Rooney. I'm just going to try and forget it. In the 1930s, Art Rooney signed Whizzer White to a $15,000 contract. The other owners were ready to kill him. It was the biggest contract ever in the history of the league to that point. So that comparison is ridiculous.
I'm glad you were on the show to point that out, Gene, because I wouldn't have known that one. All right, Bob out in Clearfield. How you doing, Bob?
Hi, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Here's my take on it. Bob Nutting is a Major League Baseball problem, requires a Major League Baseball solution. His message is the same. It doesn't matter to him whether Pirates lose 80 games, 90 games, or 100 games. It's all the same to him. And despite everything, they're still on pace to draw around Mill 4 and Mill 5 in tennis this year. Now, Major League Baseball is not going to touch the Pittsburgh situation. They got bigger problems elsewhere. They've got a contract coming up in a couple of years. In the situation, what the future holds for the teams in Florida, their attendance is even worse. But the whole irony of this matter still comes back to what Fay Vincent said decades ago. His concern There are too many teams, not enough affordable talent to go around. And so I have no idea where this thing is going to go in the years ahead. But sit back and button your seatbelts, folks, because this could be a hard ride for Major League Baseball, especially the smaller teams. So thanks very much, guys. Love to hear your thoughts.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. I appreciate it. A salary cap and a salary floor fixes it.
Well, yeah, I mean, as we've said on this show only about 100 times, the Penguins would have 3 Stanley Cups, or rather 2 Stanley Cups if it were not for the salary cap. The salary cap is not coming to Major League Baseball. The union will never allow that thing because they have the best arrangement of any of the 4 leagues. They're not willing to talk about that, and the majority of Major League owners don't care about it. Baseball is swimming in cash, and the Pirates don't think they're in the shallow end. They are frolicking in the deep end. Their operating income has been in the top 12 of Major League Baseball. I think, I don't have this exactly right, but the top 12 in each of the last 8 years. So
would the owners, you think, go for a salary floor? I mean, that would be giving up something huge to the players.
Yeah, I don't know. Any kind of system along those lines, I think the players would reject.
So I had an idea the other day. I was just throwing it out there. You weren't here, but I was saying that, you know what, they should just do a realignment. They should have all the big markets in one league, say the American League, and all the small markets in another league like the National League, and then just play for a World Series at the end. Just, you put your teams that, like the Pirates and all these other teams, and then the Yankees and everyone go in this league.
Yeah, and that's going to be a hard line to draw.
Yeah, I mean, I would just go with market size or something like that, but I don't know. Just something to throw out there. I don't know how she could fix it. I mean, it's just, I don't think there's not an end in sight to this type of baseball here in Pittsburgh as long as Bob Nutting's the owner. Let's go out to Peter in Oakmont. Peter, what's up?
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen. My question was about the Pirates, but I wanted to agree with Gene about the history of the Steelers. If you look back at the history of the Steelers, Art Rooney did several times sign big-name coaches or players. It never worked out. But there's certainly in the history of the Steelers, Art Rooney did at times spend a lot of money trying to bring talent in, but unfortunately never worked out until he brought Chuck Nolan. But anyway, my question was about the Pirates. I'm a lifelong Pirate fan. No matter how bad or no matter how good or bad they are, I, pretty much follow them the entire season. So this season, as you well know, leading up to the All-Star game, they'd go through these spurts of wins and losses, and then you get to the All-Star game, and they've just been horrific after the All-Star game. So, and I know you talk about the Pirates every night, but my question is, what happened? Why is it in the first half they could win, put together win streaks and losing streaks, but in the second half that's just completely evaporated?
Look, Peter, I don't know what to say. I just, it's just you shake your head over it. It's hard to even watch the Pirates play anymore, especially lately. No chance at competing, and now that the season's basically over, I know Neil Huntington said it wasn't technically over, but I mean, come on, look at it. So they got to start spending money, or I don't even know. Can you operate without having attendance, Gene? Because that's what it's going to come down to if this continues to happen over the next 5 to 10 years.
I think the Pirates can make money without a lot of help from attendance. I don't think they're that dependent on attendance, nor is anybody else in baseball. But as to it is a difficult question. I mean, I would only remind you that the Pirates were not a good team at the All-Star break. They were 44 and 45. They happened to be 2.5 out because no one else was playing very well then either. So it leads you to believe that they had just about exhausted their aptitudes at that point. I mean, especially looking back at what they've done in the second half. But as for what exactly happened, just everything went. Josh Bell, went a month without hitting a homer. Their pitching staff continued to not be able to stop losing streaks and not be able to build one. Trevor Williams has been terrible. Chris Archer's been terrible. Jason Tyone could not pitch after May 1st. Their bullpen was uneven all along. So yeah, I mean, as Chuck Noll said about Sidney Thornton, the Pirates have problems, and they are great.
Yeah, and you know, I think maybe one of the biggest problems, they're bad self-evaluators, and that could be the main problem here, Gene, because you know, they thought they were a good team, and they had all these simulations.
It looks like a lot of people are being consistently wrong, and something has to change.
Yeah, and that's been going on for a while. All right, we're going to take a break. Back to answer my phone calls coming up next. Stay right there.